Welcome back to Self-Assured, and this series is all about me becoming the most self-assured and confident version of myself. And I wanted to bring to you more of an educational lesson today that actually relates to my fitness journey a lot. If you're somebody who feels like their metabolism is broken, and what I mean by that is you do diet after diet, but you're seeing no results on the scale, in the mirror, and you're just not making any progress. Or you diet and you make some progress, but it's way slower than you think it should be, and you're just wondering why that is. And maybe we point towards, well, I'm getting older, my metabolism has slowed down. Maybe I'm in my early 30s, late 30s, early 40s, and it's just not working the same that it used to. And the stuff that I used to do doesn't work anymore. I relate to this cycle in the sense that I've always held the belief for some reason that I have a slow metabolism, when in reality, this time around while I'm dieting, my fat loss phase is going really well. And my body's responding really well to 1,700, 1,800 calories per day. And I'm not hungry or starved at all. And my metabolism is running on all cylinders. And there's a couple things that I'm doing that are really helping to amplify my metabolism and help it work to its fullest extent. And these are the same strategies that we use with our one-on-one clients in our 16-week accelerator program, specifically to build their metabolism back up so that when they diet, they can feel good about the results they're making in a sustainable way. They don't have to go to extremes. So I'm just gonna walk you through how this cycle starts in the first place and then how we can reverse it and the things in our metabolism we can actually leverage to see better progress versus skinny teas, juices, eating a bunch of grapefruit, spicy foods, things that are meant to boost your metabolism that don't really, because I was the queen of Google searches on Google searches trying to figure out how can I boost my metabolism, when really it all just came down to the foundations of metabolism that I wasn't taking advantage of. So let's get into it. So when we cut our calories really low and we do these extreme fad diets, we undergo a process called metabolic adaptation. Metabolic adaptation is essentially this process you're seeing right here. We have our metabolism that starts up here because we are not dieting, but we cut our calories down to this really, really low amount. And this gap is the period of time in which we are making progress. We're losing weight because there is a difference between our calories in, what we're eating, and our metabolism, which is our calories out, right? But over time, the metabolism adapts and eventually matches the calories in because our body's efficient. It wants to survive. It doesn't want to wither away into nothing. So eventually it matches. And this is the point at which we stop seeing progress and we plateau. And then we're really prone to gaining weight back because when we stop seeing progress, we say, screw it. And we jump our calories all the way back up, which is a problem because our metabolism is slow to adapt. It's going to go back up at the same pace. And this gap between up here and the metabolism adapting is the period in which we are rapidly regaining weight. See how this works? Okay, so that's metabolic adaptation, and that's why we yo-yo back and forth between diet after diet, and each time it gets less and less effective and we regain more weight than the time before because our metabolism keeps adapting down. And so there's 4 steps essentially to this cycle. We've got our diet. We start up here, we do the diet, we lose the weight, and our metabolism adapts. Eventually we plateau. When we plateau, we don't understand why we're plateauing because we don't understand these concepts and how to work with our metabolism. So we get stuck for long enough and eventually we say, F it. And then after we say F it, we are regaining the weight for however long, and that entire period leads us to feeling so ashamed and upset with ourselves that we do another diet because it's the only thing that we know that works, or that works, right? Your metabolism's not broken. You're just not working with the pieces of it that actually make the biggest difference in boosting your metabolism. What you're doing instead is you're kind of running it into the ground with HIIT workouts, with fad diets, with really low calorie things that are causing it to down regulate. Let's talk about the things that up-regulate your metabolism, and I'll explain this in the simplest way that I can. This pie chart is your metabolism. It's your calories out. If you haven't heard the equation calories in versus calories out, how this weight loss thing happens is we have to be eating less than we're expending, like I just showed in that last graph. And your calories in is comprised of all the food that you eat, the things that you intake, but the calories out is comprised of everything that is your metabolism. But we don't know what those components are and how to work with our body. So this is our metabolism, and there are 4 main sections of things that burn calories in our body that contribute to calories out. So let's talk about them. Number 1 is BMR. This is the biggest one. It's this huge chunk here that takes up 60 to 70% of your entire metabolism. The BMR is the basal metabolic rate. What does that mean? It means if you were in a coma lying in a bed for 24 hours, how many calories would your body burn on its own without you doing anything? This is your body's basic needs to survive. Little story time, I used to work in a lab at my old university doing basal metabolic rate testing on individuals where I would hook them up to a machine and we get an estimate of how many calories they're actually burning. Now it's not perfect, but on average, most women just with the BMR burn 1,000 to 1,200 calories per day, and most men 1,800 to 2,000 calories in just that resting metabolic rate. So what makes us think that eating 1,200 calories is a good idea, right? So 60 to 70%. So then what's the other 30 to 40%? We're going to talk about that. The next biggest section is our NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis, which is made up of 10 to 15% of all of our calories out. Non-exercise activity is me moving my arms right now, going on walks, unloading the groceries from the car, taking the stairs instead of the elevator, walking to the bathroom, all of the things that we wouldn't normally consider exercise, but are movement. And non-exercise activity is the most malleable. It's the one we have the most control over in the short term on the day-to-day. One really easy way to calculate and count what non-exercise activity is through your step counter. This is why Apple Watches, Fitbits have become so popular with the fitness coaching community, is because we want to get a proxy for about how much we're moving per day. It's not going to be perfect, right? Like if I shake my arm like this, I'm getting steps right now, but it's going to tell me on average how much am I moving, and that imperfect measurement is so helpful because if you're walking 2,000 steps per day, just working from home, rolling from your bed to the couch to the office and not really doing anything else, you're gonna have a really hard time losing weight because that non-exercise activity percentage is going to shrink. It's gonna be less. But if you keep your non-exercise activity managed, you have a step goal, you're hitting it regularly, you're going to expand how much of an impact this can have on your calories out. This is why I have a walking pad with my desk. This is why I am so passionate about getting out, going on walks, and just promoting general activity. So let me be clear. That alone is 70 to 85% of your entire energy expenditure. We have not talked about magic foods. We have not talked about going to the gym and doing HIIT cardio. That's what we're going to talk about next, right? The next one that we have is the thermic effect of food, TEF. This is about 10% of our total daily energy expenditure. And what the thermic effect of food is the energy that it takes to actually digest the food that we eat, which basically means it takes calories to eat calories. The foods that have the highest thermic effect are the ones that are fibrous, are whole nutrient dense foods, are lean proteins, are things that are single ingredient unprocessed foods because they're not made to just be digested quickly by our system. They are from nature and they take a little bit more energy and effort to process. So the more whole nutrient dense foods we eat, the higher that thermic effect of food becomes. Certain macronutrients also have a higher thermic effect than others. For example, protein has the highest thermic effect of food, meaning that if we eat a high protein diet on top of lots of nutrient dense fruits, vegetables, we're going to be burning more calories simply by eating than if we were to not have that high protein. So is this making sense so far? It's not the magic food. It's not eating grapefruit in the morning. It's not taking an apple cider vinegar shot. It's all the food you eat, and the majority of your food being whole, nutrient-dense foods, can make such a big difference in your calories out and your energy balance. This is why sometimes people will shift their diet from processed to unprocessed and high protein and start losing weight without changing their calories, because their calories out is getting better and they have more energy. So they're able to do more non-exercise activity and their body's just functioning better. And so maybe their BMR goes up too. See how this all works? We still have not touched on exercise. The last piece of the puzzle is our EE, exercise expenditure, which is 5%. 5% of our total daily energy expenditure. Your efforts on the treadmill, doing the HIIT workouts, sweating like crazy, killing yourself in the gym, 5% of your day. So is it really the workouts, or are we just not fueling our metabolism, right? So we're starting to understand calories out is so much more nuanced than we thought, and it's actually easier than we thought. We just have to eat that nutrient-dense diet. We need to go on more walks, and we need to fuel our metabolism. Last bit, this BMR here, guess what this is highly influenced by? This is highly influenced by the amount of lean muscle mass and bone density and tissue that we have in our body that's not body fat. Body fat doesn't take a lot of energy to upkeep. It's a storage thing. We're just storing energy. It's just sitting there. Muscle mass takes a lot of energy to keep up. When we train in the gym, let's say we do a bunch of bicep curls and our biceps are really fatigued, when they're sore, that recovery process is burning calories, contributing to our BMR for the next 48 to 72 hours. Training for strength, building muscle, training to do that is actually boosting your metabolism more than any HIIT workout that you'll ever see online. If your BMR is contributed to by your daily survival needs and the amount of muscle mass you have on your body, your non-exercise activity is the most controllable factor of our energy expenditure that we have. And our TEF is something that we can control with what we put into our body and the quality of foods we eat. And our exercise expenditure is basically negligible. Would it be that out of pocket to say that we can make more progress without doing any cardio by just paying attention to fueling our metabolism for the better and training to be strong, to lift weights, to build muscle? And that's how we get that tone too. Doing all these things, training to lift weights, build muscle, get stronger, whole nutrient-dense diet with high protein, moving, getting a step goal and hitting that regularly, and doing the things that support our BMR, just general healthy lifestyle, lower stress, better sleep, and more muscle, our metabolism is going to be functioning on all cylinders. And we're not gonna need a crash diet. That's why I'm losing weight on 1,800 calories per day. And I'm not a large human. I weigh 145 pounds right now. So if I can do that, and I used to think I had a slow metabolism, you can too. And a lot of times when we think, well, I'm getting older and my metabolism's slowing down, it's not your age, it's the fact that we stopped doing this stuff. It's the fact that life got busy, life got hard. We stopped going outside for walks because we work from home. We stopped eating really healthy foods because it's inconvenient. And we're not getting good sleep because maybe we have a newborn, or we're super stressed out because of work, and everything in our metabolism is tanking. And this is why our lifestyle makes more of an impact on our metabolism than any fad diet, any HIIT cardio, any magic pill will. So if you're stuck in the yo-yo diet cycle, and maybe this makes a ton of sense to you and you're like, oh my God, I need to make these changes, but I'm not sure how to make them work within my lifestyle, go ahead and use the link in the description below to send in an application for our one-on-one coaching program, where we help set these foundations in your life with you so that you can be successful in boosting your metabolism and seeing results in the long run, because it's not a quick fix and it's not something that's gonna set you up for failure long term. Now, if you enjoyed this video and you found it valuable, I encourage you to make sure to subscribe to this channel for more videos, as well as share this with somebody that it could help. I feel like a lot of women are in this cycle. We work with hundreds and thousands of them. So if you're watching this, you probably know more people who are in this boat too. So share this with someone who could benefit. Share it to a friend over your Instagram stories, over text, to just get the word out about how your metabolism actually works and how to get it working for you. So thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate your time and your attention, and I'll see you back next week for another episode of Self Assured.